Hey guys, and how are you? I'm going to give it a couple of minutes for everybody to get into the live chat because everybody's always like, you get to talking and you know, the video starts and we don't get time to jump in. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to jump in this live chat and start chatting away. Forgive me, my hair for looking a mess. It is rainy here, so my hair is just like at me. And see, back in the old days before I got in front of the camera, I could hide these days. I could just whip my hair up into a bun and be like, oh. Now I kind of can't hide it in front of the camera. Sorry. Anyway, how are you guys? Before we get to going, how are you guys? Let's talk in the live chat below. And if you're watching this after the live chat has ended, leave comments and we'll talk. I really like talking to you guys. I see a lot of people kind of hovering around the live chat and they're like, they don't say much. I don't know if that's just because you're just really into the video or if it's you're shy or you're don't want to get in. But get in if you want to. I mean, I like talking to you guys. I love having a chat. I love talking about stuff. So how are you guys? How was your weekend? How is your day handling? How are you handling your day? I hope you had an amazing cup of coffee. Those make the days go so much better. I'm gonna go ahead and set up this video because hopefully everybody's in the live chat. Hopefully everybody's starting to talk and we'll chat. I'm gonna go ahead and set up. I think I've already said that. Sorry. Everybody knows that my setup for narrations has been confiscated by the court, and I've received a ton of emails saying, "Is that it? Are we not doing narrations anymore? Or is horror gone? Is it just vlogging or reviews or music reviews or so forth and so on?" To answer your question, no, that is not my goal. I'm not going to phase out of horror. I'm not going to phase out of narrations, but we do have a dilemma right now. Without having a setup, it makes things so much harder. And I'm not savvy with computers. I'm not a genius, although people seem to keep telling me I am. I'm not a genius. I don't know how to work my way around. So vlogging is what I've been doing because I can do that with my phone and other stuff. But I had an epiphany. Scary, I know. I had an idea. That's all, Anyway, what if I do live narrations? Well, live action narrations. Live would literally be live streaming, but live action narrations where I can do it in front of the camera and still bring you the horror narrations that you have grown to love. Now, this is where it got a little tricky. I didn't want to just be sitting in front of the camera reading and looking at you like this. So I worked my way, and this took some time, worked my way where I strategically put the camera here and would have like cue cards behind the camera or a phone hidden out of sight or just as like an aesthetic in my hand. And it was very challenging, which was kind of fun. I liked the challenge. It was really enjoyable. So I picked several short creepypastas from creepypasta.com and turned on the camera, and kind of set up where I wanted to do what I wanted to do and started live action narrations. I'm going to admit to you guys that I am scared to death how this is going to roll. But I've been telling you guys that I wanted to do horror movies, little short horror movies, and haven't had the time or the money to get it started. So I thought this might be a kind of a transition into that. Also, I've never seen this on another narration channel or another channel, so I thought, why not? Let's spice things up. Let's have a challenge. Let's make this and try something new. I'm scared to death. How are you? But if you guys are watching this, whether it's in the live chat or you're watching this later, leave comments and let me know, there might be a short, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to stick to short creepypastas, but have a video of say 6 or 8, because I don't know if I can do a live action 40-minute creepypasta right now. Don't know if I have that to do it. But I may try it. I may just have to do it in sections and go from there. But leave comments or in live chat or in just actual comments after the video is done, and let me know of like maybe some short creepypastas that you have read, or short true stories. No Sleep. I kind of stick more to the creepypastas and true stories than No Sleep. Not that I'm a snob of it, I'm just saying. The wind's picking up. Ooh, sorry. But leave like little comments and tell me like maybe there's a creepypasta that you like and that you are interested in seeing in a live action, and I'll try it. I'm willing. I'm willing to try. Also, this is an idea. None of the creepypastas in this video I wrote. It was written by somebody else, and amazing writers. But this is an idea. I just thought of it off the top of my little pea brain. What if you guys want to leave comments of ideas, like maybe an idea for a creepypasta, like what if you wrote this, and maybe leave a comment of ideas for stories, and I will sit down and write a creepypasta to go with it, and I will dedicate it to you in the video that I air it. I kind of like that idea. So leave me comments, leave ideas. I will write little creepypastas for you guys. I will dedicate it to you, and I will air it live action. If you guys like this. Now, you guys may not even like live action horror narrations, but look at it as like sort of like a little mini movie. 2, 3, 5. I think the last story in this video is like 15. So I'm gonna shut up because I know I talk way too much, and this is not a vlog. This is a live action live action horror. So I'm gonna and I'm going to see you guys. Well, I'm not gonna see you guys. This is it. I'm just gonna go right into the narration, and I hope you guys enjoy. Leave a thumbs up, leave comments, share, and don't forget I have a PayPal account that you can donate to if you like the video or any of the videos. And love you guys. Enjoy. I hate it when my brother Charlie has to go away. My parents constantly try to explain to me how sick he is, that I'm the lucky one for having a brain where all the chemicals flow properly to their destinations, like undammed rivers. When I complain about how bored I am without a little brother to play with, they try to make me feel bad by pointing out that his boredom likely surpasses mine, considering he's confined to a dark room in an institution. I always beg for them to give him one last chance, and of course they did at first. Charlie has been back several times, each shorter in duration than the last. Every time without fail, it all starts again. The neighborhood cats, with their eyes gouged out, found in his toy chest in his room. My dad's razors found dropped in baby slides at the park across the street. Mom's vitamins replaced with bits of dishwashing tablets. My parents are hesitant now, using last chances sparingly. They say his disorder makes him charming, makes him easy for him to fake normalcy and trick the doctors who care for him into thinking he's ready for rehabilitation. That I will just have to put up with the boredom if it means staying safe from him. I hate it when Charlie has to go away. It makes me have to pretend until he comes back. Or they'll know it's me. A few years ago, a mother and father decided that they desperately needed a break. So they wanted to head out for a night on the town. That is when they called the trusty babysitter. When she arrived, the children were fast asleep. So all she had to do was sit around and make sure that they were safe. But later that night, she got bored. She wanted to watch television, but there was no cable downstairs. So she called up the parents. Would you guys mind if I watch TV in your room? Which, of course, they were okay with. But I have one final request. There's a statue outside your window. Do you mind if I cover it with a cloth or a blanket? It's really making me nervous. The phone line went silent, and the dad came on. "Take the children and get out of the house. We'll call the police. We don't have a statue." "I don't have a statue?" The police found both the children and the babysitter slumped in pools of their own blood. Within 3 minutes of the call, no statue was found. Hey guys, brand new vlog. I know everybody's been asking me about the old house that me and my boyfriend bought. He's under construction. He's trying to turn this awful kitchen into a master bedroom, and I am on wallpaper removal duty. Now, I'm not joking when I say that the old owner wallpapered everything. The wall, the ceiling, the floor. And it's brutal. It's hell trying to get this wallpaper off. Now, you know when you get a sunburn and you get like peeling your skin? That is one of the most satisfying feelings, is when you're peeling wallpaper and you get a long peel. I'm not joking. It's my newfound excitement for the day. Now guys, something I noticed, and I've got it right here on my phone. Under a corner section of paper in every room, there's a name and date. Out of curiosity, of course, I Googled it last night and discovered that the name was of a real missing person with a date. The next day, I made a list of the names and dates. And sure enough, each name is of a missing person with dates to match. I called the police this morning. And of course, they're right here right now with their crime scene investigators. I just overheard one of them say, "Yep, it's human." Human? What's human? Ma'am? Where's the material you removed from the walls already? This isn't wallpaper you're removing. A young girl is playing in her bedroom when she hears her mother call her from the kitchen. So she runs down the stairs to meet her mother. As she's running through the hallway, the door to the cupboard under the stairs opens, and a hand reaches out to pull her in. It's her mother. She whispers to the child, "Don't go into the kitchen. I heard it too." Within the Darkness, found at creepypasta.com, written by David Noppel. It all started after moving into my new house. Yes, I know it sounds pretty cliche. Believe me, I know. But it's what happened. I never experienced anything supernatural before, and though interested, I never really expected anything to happen to me. I was able to rent the house for pretty cheap. I didn't think anything of it because it was old and not in the best neighborhood. So I guess I just got a good deal. After moving everything in, things were fine for a while. I don't remember exactly when it started because it seemed so minor at the time. I'd leave a light on in the kitchen or the bathroom and come back to find it off. Honestly, I thought I was just forgetting that I turned them off. After a while, I began to wonder and started leaving a couple lights on purpose. Sometimes nothing would happen. Sometimes I'd come back to find the lights turned off. By now, I figured out that something was off. I wasn't really scared, but just confused. I thought maybe something was wrong with the wiring or the electronics or something. I started leaving lights on a bit more often because I thought I might be able to get some sign of why they would randomly shut off. That's when it started to take another turn. The first time I remember something crazy happening was when I left the kitchen and living room light on while I was asleep. I woke up to a deep, rumbling growl, coming from the kitchen. Now from the bedroom, you can see down the hall to the living room, and that room is connected to the kitchen. I remember waking up thinking that there was an animal or something in my house. I looked down the hall toward the living room to see the light darken. Somebody had flicked off the light. Another low growl came, this time from the living room, and I nearly screamed as I saw something bolt across the length of the hall. And then the living room light went off. I couldn't tell exactly what it was, though. It just seemed like a black shadow or something. It didn't really matter. I was scared to death. I bolted from my bed and threw on the bedroom light, expecting something to be in this room and getting ready to come after me. Nothing. There wasn't anything in the room. I let out a low breath, and then I slowly moved down the hall into the living room. Once I got to the end, I practically ran to throw on the light switch there. Again, nothing. Kitchen next, and once again, nothing. I was starting to think I dreamed all of it. Now I am a grown adult, but here I was terrified to turn off that light switch. And I'll admit it, I slept with all the lights on that night. That was a mistake. When I woke up the next morning, all the lights were once again off. I went to push myself out of bed and winced as my body felt sore. I pulled the sheets off to see long red marks running down along my legs and arms. It looked like something scratched me in the night. That terrified the heck out of me. But not so nearly as what I saw around the house. Every light I left on was smashed. Every light bulb that was on last night was broken. Every lamp knocked over and smashed in. My breath caught in my throat as I looked around. Something messed the heck out of my house. And something tried to, do something to me. I called in for work that day and went immediately to replace all the lights. I didn't know what to do then. I thought about leaving, but I know this probably sounds stupid, but this was my home. It was my first time away from my family, and this was my home. I couldn't give it up. So I stayed, even as it got worse. Even though I was beginning to become terrified of the dark, I couldn't really sleep with the light on me in the night in my bedroom. I'd leave other lights on though, like in the hall or the living room, giving myself enough to see pretty well in my darkened room. And almost every night I'd wake up in the middle of the night to hear something growling and prowling around the living room, and then the lights would shut off. I didn't want to go look. I was terrified of the thought of being in the same room with whatever was in there. So I curled up in bed and I prayed. It never came in. One night, after this went on for a while, I had it. I bought a gun and I turned on every light in the house. Then I sat down in the middle of the living room with my gun in my lap and a baseball bat sitting next to me. I waited. There was nothing at first for a long time. And around 2 a.m., I began to hear it. Oddly, it was behind me. I turned and peeked toward the hall to my bedroom and could hear that familiar growl. I swallowed and I held my gun in one hand and a bat in the other. I slowly began to step around to get a better view of the bedroom from the living room. As I began to get in a view of my bed, I heard a loud thump, followed by an inhuman roar. I, being the brave woman I am, jumped back and away from the hallway. I wanted to end this all, but dear Lord, I didn't want to deal with that thing. I could hear tearing and smashing, but I don't know how I caught it. But I didn't manage to hear an audible click and then nothing. Slowly, I went back to peek down the hall, and the light was off once again. A deep breath, and I ventured forth, my weapons ready. When I came to my bedroom and flicked the light back on, I gasped. My bed was ravaged, torn completely apart. It was like some animal had jumped into it and just ripped it to shreds. I stepped forward to look at what was left of my bed and just stood in shock for who knows how long. It wasn't until I heard the sound of that growl that I turned around. Standing near my door, right at the light switch, was when I finally saw it. It was a man, a white and rotting man with mangled body that looked like he had once been a dog's chew toy, just staring at me. I was too in shock to even raise my weapons. He stared at me for just a moment, and then he flicked off the light. I screamed. I'm not even ashamed to admit it, but I screamed. I screamed and I bolted. I didn't care if that was the place that the man had been standing. I ran right past where I had seen him, swinging my bat like a mad person. I nearly put a hole in the hallway as I ran through into the safe light of the hall. I turned to look back then, just in time to see him once again near the hall light switch. He turned that one off too. By then, I didn't want to fight. I wanted to be safe. I bust past the living room and into the brightness of the kitchen. I heard the sound of the growling and the scratching nearly all around me. Then I knew he was coming back. I looked back once again to see that mangled and rotting corpse of a man, to turn off another light with a broken finger and plunge me into terrifying darkness. I broke for the living room. This was where I was going to make my final stand. I'd have to fight here. I drew close to that standing lamp. That was my last line of defense. It hated the dark, so I'd stayed right there next to this comforting standing lamp. I waited for it to turn it off. It never did. I looked around in quiet, nothing but quiet. I turned then to look at that saving grace of the lamp that refused to yield. I stared, and I started to find myself laughing, a crazy but alive laugh, and I thought I'd finally be okay. I stepped closer, and I promise I almost hugged that lamp until I saw it. I heard the growl, first coming not from behind me, from in front, from that lamp. My eyes widened, and I stared at the light from the lamp, intensified. I stumbled back, and I don't know what happened, but I think I tripped on something. I just know I found myself flat on my back, staring up at that bright, intense light. It wasn't comforting any longer, just hot and heavy and bright. I thought it was going to burn me away, and then it came. I don't have words to describe what poured from the lamp's light. It was hideous, twisted, and filled with rage. I know I never will forget those eyes, though. Bright, hot, and white. Two glowing circles of pure malice. It hated me. It hated everything about me. And not just me. It hated all of us. Every human being. But it was stuck here. And it would lash out at what it could. Me. I don't know how I knew this, but I just knew. It lunged for me, and I prepared myself for a painful death. Click. The light went out. Once again came darkness. Sweet, quiet, relaxing darkness. I stayed on the ground for a long moment, letting my eyes adjust as I kept my gaze fixated on where my standing lamp was. As the seconds passed, I could start to make him out. That mangled man standing by the lamp, one torn hand upon the switch as he looked down at me. I understood then. I understood what it all meant. Everything that had happened. The man pulled his hand away from it and then pointed a mangled finger toward it, very clearly shaking his head from side to side. All I could find myself doing was nodding. He wasn't the one trying to harm me. All this time, all those instances, he was trying to protect me. That creature could only come in the light, and this mangled man had been trying to keep me safe. He didn't want someone else to repeat his mistakes. I moved out the very next day and never looked back. Whatever it was confined to that house. And so far, nothing has come at me from another light source. However, that thing will always stick with me in my mind. Every night in my new apartment, I made a habit of wandering around the house, making sure every light is off, every curtain is closed, and made sure to plunge myself into quiet, comforting, and safe pitch blackness.